All right, what's good, y'all? Stuart V for Venom Sports, and we spit that fire. I want to thank all the subscribers out there, and I've realized, man, running a YouTube page obviously is not as easy as it looks. I have much respect for all the guys who, are trying to get this YouTube page going, and today we're going to be talking about some sports though with Tua Tagovailoa out of Alabama. I think they're doing some incredible things up there. Now, earlier, when I first started this thing, I had a video where I gave all the reasons why Alabama should, start Jalen Hurts, and it went back to the whole, he's been around, he's, 26-2 guy, you got to give him a shot, blah, blah, blah. But it's a good thing Coach Nick Saban did not even come close to considering what I had to say, because obviously I was not even on the mark. I wasn't even close to what he saw and now his level of productivity. But I think he can get the best of both worlds in having Tua Tagovailoa as his starting quarterback and having the experience and having the ability. I mean, I've been looking at Jalen Hurts, and his passing ability has definitely improved this season, and he's become a lot more accurate, and he seems to be taking into whatever coaching that they have been giving him, and it's been pretty incredible. But let's talk about Tua Tagovailoa and the effect that he has had on this Alabama football team. And this is an Alabama football team that we just have never really seen before. We always figured that these guys had this type of potential, but we just have never seen the onslaught of what we're seeing now. I mean, and it's absolutely amazing, and the proof is all in the numbers. All right, so first game against Louisville, Tua Tagovailoa goes 12 for 16 for 227 yards. Now, this is his first game. He and Jalen Hurts are pretty much, trading reps, you know what I'm saying, trying to see who's going to be that number one guy. I think the coaches had a pretty good idea of who the number one guy was going to be. But, you still want to give that opportunity because Jalen Hurts has a skill set that has led Alabama to a 26-2 record, including two national championship appearances. So you got to take all of that into consideration. So either way, one thing about it, between the two quarterbacks, they did an excellent. This is the thing that is really going to be a thing down the stretch, is their ability to distribute the football in the passing game. So here's the deal. Devontae Smith had 4 catches for 99 yards. Jalen Waddle, 3 catches for 66 yards. Jerry Jeudy, 4 catches for 64 yards and 2 touchdowns. And also Tua Tagovailoa in this game showed his running ability, where he had 5 runs for 26 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now, the following week against Arkansas State, Jeudy had 4 catches for 87 yards. The other receivers had some major contributions as well, which is what is going to make down the stretch this Alabama offense just so hard to contend and so hard to prepare for. When you look at all of the accessibilities and all the availabilities that Tua Tagovailoa has to him, which Jalen Hurts had as well, the only issue is Tua Tagovailoa has the ability to deliver the passes, to hit these guys when they're open, to also develop that confidence with the guys to where they know there is no primary receiver in this group. You have a lot of quarterbacks that just have their go-to guy. But with Tua Tagovailoa, he knows when he checks his progression down, he has about 5 people that he's looking for, accessibility or the opportunity to throw the football to. And that's very encouraging to these receivers, because they don't feel like, I may miss out. But, it's just you tune in, and this could be your week to hit, for 100, 105 yards or something along those lines, to keep those receivers engaged, to keep those receivers always in the mix, to where you have that all of that motivation going, especially as you get into the meat of the SEC schedule. Now let's talk about this Texas A&M game, which I thought was very telling. You got to really look at the distribution of yardage and how Tua Tagovailoa manages this team to where he gets people involved very effectively. All right, Henry Ruggs, 3 grabs for 84 yards. Jerry Jeudy, 6 grabs for 78 yards. Irv Smith, the tight end, getting a little love. You know what I'm saying? 4 catches for 74 yards. And Devontae National Championship Smith with 4 grabs, including, if you watch that game, all right, so Alabama gets an early interception in that Texas A&M game. Next play, man, Tua Tagovailoa going for Devonta Smith, who beat the safety in the out route. Man, it was an incredible catch. Very remnants of a lot more spectacular, but very more remnants of the national championship game when Devonta Smith scored the winning touchdown. Just the way Tua Tagovailoa spreads this ball around has to be a nightmare for upcoming defensive coordinators. Also, getting the tight end involved some more. Hale Henniges with 2 catches, with 2 TD catches, and this is great how Tua Tagovailoa has this ability when he gets back there in that pocket, checks his progression, checks it. He has access to almost 6 ball players, depending on who's in the game, to throw the ball to. And I even saw a couple of wheel routes in the Texas A&M game. So it's like, what do you do to contain a guy or contain a situation like this? Now, one thing I can think of is just a pure statute of limitations. First of all, you have to limit the accessibility of Tua Tagovailoa to all his weapons, because right now defenses have it set up to where he has access to every single weapon he has. One thing I think defensive coordinators are going to have to look at is finding ways to limit their effectiveness. You're not going to necessarily stop this. I thought Texas A&M was going to be able to do this as they kept the game close, and then things kind of got out of hand for them. So what you really have to do as defensive coordinators, you have to pick kind of sort of your poison. Right now, Alabama does not have a good, they have the ability, but they haven't really had to really tap into their running game, which is not, I wouldn't say the running game has been ineffective, but the running game has just not been utilized. If I'm a defensive coordinator, what I'm trying to do is find schemes and find scenarios to where I somewhat force Alabama to have to utilize their running game a little bit more. Because as long as they have this onslaught of passing, it's just going to be a long night for any team that plays against Alabama. And also, even in the secondary, what I noticed is a lot of safeties are biting bad on the internal routes of the receivers. They're biting. I mean, in that one single step is making it to where it's a done deal. Like you're toast. If you make one false move against this Alabama receiving core / tight end and the running back coming out of the backfield, you're toast. So you really have to keep things, with Alabama, you have to keep things in front of you. Another thing, too, is your offense. You absolutely have to keep your offense on the field, and I think Texas A&M has given the first blueprint of how, this could possibly happen. They did some pretty good things with time of possession. Turnovers definitely didn't help, but your offense is definitely going to have to help your defense against a team like Alabama, and you have to limit the big plays. I talked about this last week. 30-plus yards or more, you have to minimize those plays. They're going to get them because of the skill set that they have, but you have to begin the process of minimizing those big plays. I think Tua Tagovailoa and Alabama have an incredible thing going on. Can any team be beat? Yeah, of course, but it's going to take a little bit more challenge. Once again, my name is Stuart V for Venom Sports, and we spit that fire. Good luck, defensive coordinators out there in the country, on stopping these Alabama Crimson Tide, including Tua Tagovailoa, who has really revolutionized this Alabama offense into something that we have not seen. Like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate y'all. You all have a good day.